Are you ready for the time management tool that you're probably missing out on? Before we dive in, I have a favor to ask. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel so that I know all of the time management secrets that you're finding helpful. Let's go. So, how much time did you spend working last week? I'm sure you've got a general number that popped into your head and probably followed by a thought of too many. Now, how many hours did you spend on the things that you want to spend your time on? Like working out, connecting with friends, or hobbies? I'm probably getting a few blank faces staring at the screen and probably some I don't knows. How we spend our time is how we spend our life. So when you spend your day convinced that there isn't enough time and that you don't feel in control of where your hours go, that can create a less than exciting life. So, the first step to getting back in the driver's seat of your time is to really understand where your minutes are going so you can start to direct them where you want. If you want to lose weight, you track what you eat. If you want to save money, you track what you spend. If you want more time, you guessed it, you have to track how you're spending it. So, the time management tool that you're missing? A time audit. A time audit is a short period of time where you keep track of and log exactly how you spend your time every day. This tool really helps you go beyond just that feeling of busy or feeling of a lack of time because you'll have the hard data and the facts right in front of you of what's causing those feelings. When you have this data in hand, you can start to analyze and really be more aware of your time so you can be more intentional and realistic with what you spend your time on. Now, before we get too far, a quick reality check. A time audit is not going to be a quick fix to help you get it all done. Even after a perfectly conducted time audit, your to do list is still going to be full, and your calendar space is still going to be limited. A time audit is not the secret answer to completing every single project, goal, or whim that you can dream up. Let go of that expectation. The goal of a time audit is to help you find the balance and fill your hours with the things you enjoy. All right, here are 5 steps to performing your time audit. Step 1. Decide if you want to audit your personal time or professional time or both. We often manage personal and professional priorities and workloads a little bit differently, so it can be helpful to laser focus on just one area. But if you're hoping to understand the overall balance of your life, you may want to consider auditing both your personal and your professional time together. Step 2. Perform a time audit for at least a full week. Each day can differ from one to the next with varying demands. So, auditing a full week will give you a really good picture of averages. And don't forget that weekends are still worth tracking, especially if you're prone to letting work sneak into the weekends. 2 out of 7 days represents a really good chunk of your life. So, you want to find out how you're using your weekend time as well. Step 3. Create a tracker for you to log your time. So I like to use a spreadsheet for this because it allows you to easily capture the data in a very easy to read format. You can also make it digital so it's easy to access or print it out and log manually. So in this tracker, include general categories for the types of activities that you're typically spending time on. And I'm a little bit of a spreadsheet nerd, so I also love to color code because that's going to give you a really easy high level view of how you're spending your time in each of these categories. Some example categories are things like admin work. So that's meetings, calls, emails. You also have creation. So things like writing or coding. You have learning, which are things like reading and listening and studying. Or you have ideation time for things like brainstorming or journaling or just reflecting. And then don't forget the category of avoiding. These are your social media doom scrolling activities, your unplanned internet browsing, and any of that not real work that seems to creep into your day. So, I've actually put together a time audit tracker and step by step time audit guide. You can grab the link for those resources in the video description. Step 4. Log your activities throughout the day. So, for this step, please don't rely on your memory. You will probably conveniently forget the 15 minutes that you spent scrolling Instagram while you were avoiding starting that report. So, set yourself a reminder throughout the day to stop and log what you just spent time on. I like to log in 15-minute increments, but you can also use 30-minute chunks of time if that's a little bit easier. So write down what you did in as much detail as you want. You can do something as simple as project work or completed presentation deck. Both of those are fine. One is just going to give you a little bit more information to work with later on. Step 5. Keep it business as usual and avoid perfectionism. So while you're logging, don't try to make any major adjustments to how you're spending your time just because you're tracking it. You'll likely become hyper aware of where you're letting the hours go during the time that you track. But you want to be honest about what your default behaviors are so you can make lasting changes later. Also, don't let perfectionism take over. You don't have to log the 60-second break you took to let the dog out, or overanalyze whether a phone call with a coworker was an admin task or ideation. The process may feel a little bit daunting and overwhelming, but just have fun with it. Make it a game of research and science, and don't overthink it. You are simply collecting data. So you've taken the effort to collect all of the data and tirelessly logged each minute. You have reality looking you straight in the face. So what do you do now? First, review your audit and note any patterns. Put on your scientist hat and ask yourself a few things like this. Do you see a lot of unintentional breaks, such as social media scrolling or mindlessly browsing the internet? When is that happening and why? Are you spending more or less time on things that you originally thought that you did? Are there certain times of day where you seem to be more focused and have less interruptions? Or is there anything that surprised you? Take some time to think through and answer these questions. Next, evaluate the overall balance of your time. So, this is where the color coded category fun can come in. From a high level, evaluate the percentage of time that you're spending in each category. How do you feel about what you're accomplishing? Would you like to spend more time doing something or less time doing something? Is there anywhere that you could possibly shift 1% of your time from one category to another? Or are there activities that you could batch together to avoid context switching and interruptions? Again, take some time to think through and answer these questions for yourself. Then, notice where you have some control. Many of us might feel like we aren't in control of where our time is going. Instead, it can feel like you just jump from one fire drill to the next. So take a moment to review your log and note areas where you did actually have some control over what you were prioritizing and where you were spending your time. Now, pick one thing that you want to change. Once you've identified some patterns, focused areas that you might want to change, and recognize the moments where you have some control, it's time to try something a little different. Choose just one thing to adjust. For example, do you want to spend more time creating and ideating and less time in meetings? Look at your meetings for next week. Find one or two that you really don't need to be in. Decline and replace that time with scheduled focus time to brainstorm. These types of changes, they don't have to be big. Try out one, see how it goes, and then build some momentum and confidence that you are in the driver's seat of your day. Then try another change and another schedule tweak until you get closer and closer to your ideal schedule. The final step, plan and schedule your time. Now that you have a good idea of what you spend your time on and what you'd like to spend your time on, it will be easier to create a plan. So schedule a day to chart out your upcoming week. As you plan for this upcoming week, think about what you'd like to look back on and see that you've done. And then create a schedule that accomplishes those things, but is also balanced with a day that you would actually enjoy showing up for. Focus on what you want to spend less time doing and also what you want to spend more time doing. Then build out the schedule puzzle to bring it all together. If you need a little planning help, I actually have a great article called 6 Time Management Essentials for more tips on scheduling for success. You can grab that link in the video description. The biggest time waster is a lack of intentionality. A time audit brings more awareness to your time and where your minutes are going. It helps you find those pockets that you're letting slip away with unfocused busy work and also helps you see where you truly do have some control. A time audit does require some commitment and a little bit of focus. And you may even be overwhelmed or frustrated finally seeing where your time is actually going. But having that data to identify where your feelings of busy are stemming from is the first step to making real, meaningful change. The time and energy that you invest in this process, it's going to come back to you as you improve your time management, your productivity, and you begin to take control over your schedule to make space for the things that matter. All right? Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like or let me know in the comments. And if you want more time management secrets like this one, let me know by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to grab your time audit tracker and step-by-step guide from the link in the video description, and have a fabulous day. Evaluate the Mother messed up my hair. Look better. That wasn't right. Just doing some editing on the fly, don't mind me. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, I think we're ready.